controls Canada? It's not who you think. Behind the calm, behind the wealth lies a hidden empire of families shaping your future in silence. From billion-dollar real estate to invisible tech control, this is the Billionaire Zone. And today we reveal the true architects of Canadian power, the Billionaire blueprint, who really run Canada. When you think of global power, you think of Wall Street, Silicon Valley, or the royals of Dubai. But you're missing a quiet force, Canada's billionaire families. They don't scream for attention. They don't throw wild yacht parties. But make no mistake, they run the show. Behind the polite smiles and quiet cities lies a network of families so wealthy, so deeply embedded in the system, that their influence reaches far beyond dollars. These are the people who control Canada's tech empires, real estate kingdoms, and political connections, and most people have never heard their names. From the Lutey family's domination of e-commerce through Shopify, on to the Fidani real estate empire that owns half of Ontario's commercial spaces. These families don't just accumulate wealth, they engineer generational power. But here's the twist: they do it quietly. Unlike the Trumps or Musks, Canadian billionaires use discretion as their armor. They don't chase headlines, they build empires in silence. Through complex holdings, nonprofits, and family trusts, their wealth is protected, multiplied, and hidden in plain sight. They don't just buy influence, they inherit it, curate it, and preserve it. And while the world looks south for billionaire drama, the real game is being played right here under the radar. These families control banks, universities, infrastructure, and even art collections that rival national museums. This isn't a story about luxury. It's a story about legacy. Because in Canada, power doesn't come with paparazzi. It comes with a blueprint, a multi-generation strategy designed to last forever. So if you thought Canada was just a quiet neighbor, you've been looking at the surface. This video peels back the curtain on the families who don't just shape policy, they own the playbook. Welcome to Chapter 1, the Billionaire Blueprint. Shopify, the silent tech king, the rise of Tobias Lutey. In a world obsessed with flashy billionaires and selfie-taking tech giants, one man built a $70 billion empire in complete silence. His name? Tobias Lutey. You won't see him flexing on yachts or trending on Twitter. But if you've ever bought anything online, chances are you've used his creation Shopify. This is the story of the man many call Canada's Jeff Bezos, a tech visionary who quietly revolutionized global e-commerce. Tobias Lutey founded Shopify to solve a personal problem. He wanted to sell snowboards online. But what started as a simple idea quickly exploded into a technological infrastructure used by millions of businesses worldwide. Unlike Silicon Valley CEOs who chase headlines, Lutey avoided the spotlight, staying in Ottawa, while his platform empowered entrepreneurs from Brooklyn to Bangladesh. Today, Shopify powers over 4.5 million online stores and processes hundreds of billions in annual sales. Behind that number, a man who rarely speaks in public, but who holds the keys to the internet's new economy. And yet Tobias Lutey isn't just a tech genius. He's a strategic architect of digital wealth. He didn't sell out. He didn't IPO for a quick payday. He played the long game, building an empire where other billionaires were chasing apps and followers. His fortune is estimated at over $10 billion. But his influence? Far bigger. Because what Shopify offers isn't just a platform. It's economic freedom to anyone with a product and a dream. And while Silicon Valley brags about innovation, Shopify silently built the backbone of the global e-commerce boom. That's why Tobias Lutey is feared and respected in equal measure. Because when the economy shifted online, he didn't just adapt. He built the bridge and charged everyone to cross it. So next time you think of tech billionaires, don't just look at the loud ones. Because somewhere in Canada, the quiet king of e-commerce is still building the future without making a sound. The Fidani real estate empire. If you've ever driven through Ontario, chances are you've driven through a kingdom owned by the Fidani family. They don't make headlines. They don't chase clout. But they own the land underneath Canada's economic backbone. At the center of it all, Carlo Fidani, a real estate mogul who turned construction roots into a multi-billion-dollar empire. Their company, Orion Realty, controls millions of square feet across industrial, commercial, and medical real estate. But this isn't just about buildings. It's about power. The Fidani family's grip on Ontario's infrastructure is unmatched. Warehouses, office parks, medical centers. They build where others dream and lease to companies that can't say no. But here's the plot twist. They're not just landlords. They're philanthropic power players. Carlo Fidani donated $10 million to the University of Toronto's medical school, leading to the creation of the Fidani Wing, a center for healthcare innovation that bears their name. Another $10 million went to cancer care. It's not just charity, it's legacy engineering. Their strategy is brilliant. Build empires in brick and mortar, then fortify their name in stone, literally. The Fidani name is now etched into Canada's healthcare, real estate, and education sectors. And while others buy luxury, they buy immortality. Their estimated family wealth? Over $3 billion and growing. But you won't find Carlo Fidani on Instagram. He's too busy redefining modern philanthropy. His model is simple but powerful. Own the land, build the system, fund the future. So while the media chases stories of fast money, the Fidani family is quietly building the structure of modern Canada. Every hospital you visit, every clinic you drive past, every tech park rising out of suburban soil, their signature is in the foundations. Because in this game, it's not about showing off. It's about owning the ground everyone else walks on. Ice, oil, and influence inside the Katz dynasty. If power had a playbook in Canada, the Katz family wrote one of its boldest chapters. Meet Daryl Katz, a pharmacy magnate who turned prescriptions into prestige, and then spun that wealth into an empire built on ice, oil, and influence. It started with Rexall Pharmacies, a billion-dollar drugstore chain that Katz bought and expanded, making it a household name across Canada. But Daryl didn't stop at retail. He wanted power, presence, permanence. So he did something bold. He bought an NHL team. The Edmonton Oilers became his calling card. Not just a sports franchise, a cultural symbol he could shape, brand, and weaponize. A team rooted in Wayne Gretzky's legacy, now housed in Rogers Place, a $600 million arena he helped fund to reshape downtown Edmonton. But that's only one layer of Katz's game. He's a philanthropist, yes, but make no mistake, every donation builds power. From funding the Katz Group Center for Pharmacy and Health Research, to donating $20 million to the University of Alberta, Katz ties his name to institutions that last generations. He funds medical breakthroughs. He builds sports empires. He designs legacies. But he's also mysterious, rarely gives interviews, avoids the spotlight. And that's intentional. Control is quieter when you stay in the shadows. His estimated net worth? Over $4.5 billion. But his influence stretches further into healthcare, real estate, sports, and political advisory circles, while others chase fame. Katz builds foundations. He doesn't just play the game, he owns the stadium. And every Oilers win? That's branding. Every research center? That's legacy. He's not a celebrity. He's a chess master moving pieces that control the board. So don't let the quiet fool you. The Katz dynasty isn't loud, it's deadly precise. And in Canada, that's the kind of power that never fades. Mafia rumors cheese millions, the Saputo story. When you think of cheese, you think of comfort. But in Canada, cheese means control. And no family controls it like the Saputos. This isn't just a dairy company. It's a $15 billion empire spanning 60 countries. Built on mozzarella, fueled by expansion, and shrouded in whispers. Meet Luciano Saputo, the Montreal businessman who turned a family-run cheese shop into one of the world's largest dairy corporations. But behind the success story is a darker undertone. Allegations of mob connections. For decades, the Saputo name has been caught in rumors, whispers of ties to Italian organized crime, fueled by controversial figures and old-world connections. They've denied everything, and no charges have ever stuck. But the questions never faded. Why? Because when a family rises this fast, this quietly, people notice. Their power is real. Saputo Inc. is worth billions, and its influence touches grocery chains, international supply chains, even agricultural politics in Canada. But here's the strategy. While the world asks questions, the Saputos buy influence. They invest in communities, sponsor charities, and donate millions to public hospitals and youth programs. It's brilliant. Use philanthropy to silence doubt. Use growth to overshadow the past. Build a brand big enough that no one wants to ask too many questions. Their business is now global operations in the US, Australia, and Europe. Yet the command center remains in Canada, where their name is as powerful as it is protected. Luciano Saputo himself is worth over $5 billion. But his real achievement isn't just money, it's survival through skepticism. Because this family isn't just navigating business, they're managing narratives. And they're winning. While the rumors swirl, the Saputos keep expanding. More acquisitions, more revenue. The Saputo family knows exactly what they're doing. So the next time you slice into that cheddar, remember, you're tasting the legacy of a family who turned dairy into dominance. Poker, power the Schinbergs' global bet. When the world went online, some saw a trend. The Schinberg family saw a revolution. It began with a simple poker platform. No casinos, no cocktails, just cards, algorithms, and the biggest digital bet in history. Meet the creators of PokerStars, the once underground site that became the largest online poker platform in the world. Behind the sleek design and massive tournaments, a family few had ever heard of the Schinbergs. Their timing was impeccable. While governments hesitated and brick-and-mortar casinos clung to tradition, the Schinbergs built a billion-dollar empire from their keyboards. At its peak, PokerStars had over 50 million registered users and was processing hundreds of millions in digital transactions annually. But success didn't come clean. They faced federal investigations, money laundering accusations, and were even banned from operating in the United States under the infamous Black Friday crackdown. And yet, they survived. They adapted. They won. The Schinbergs offloaded PokerStars for $4.9 billion in one of the most stunning exits in tech gambling history. That move alone placed them among Canada's most powerful digital tycoons. But that's not where it ends. With money comes opportunity, and the Schinbergs invested wisely. Fintech, crypto platforms, streaming services, they diversified fast, wide, and quiet. Their net worth? Easily over $6 billion. But what they really own is influence in industries most governments are still struggling to regulate. And that's the genius. They play in markets before the rules are written. They don't just gamble on trends, they shape them. While others build brands, the Schinbergs build currencies of control, platforms, payment systems, even cultural movements. And all of it is shadowed in silence. No interviews, no headlines, just data, money, and global reach. In the poker world, they say, if you can't spot the sucker at the table, you're it. The Schinbergs. They built the table, they dealt the cards, and they walked away with the pot. Lululemon Lifestyle Luxury, the Wilson family formula. Most billionaires sell products. The Wilson family sold a feeling. And that feeling became a movement. Welcome to Lululemon, where leggings aren't just apparel, they're status. Yoga mats aren't just fitness gear, they're lifestyle declarations. At the center of it all, Dennis Chip Wilson, the man who turned sweat into luxury and built a $40 billion empire from a single boutique in Vancouver. But this isn't just athleisure. It's psychological branding. Wilson didn't just sell clothing, he sold aspiration. He created a tribe, a mindset, a feeling of elite wellness. where every purchase whispered, "You're disciplined, you're rich, you're elevated." And people bought it by the millions. Today, Lululemon is more than a fashion brand. It's a cultural symbol, worn by celebrities, CEOs, and socialites alike. It's become the uniform of the successful suburban elite. And the Wilson family rode that wave all the way to the top. But success didn't come without controversy. Chip's blunt interviews sparked backlash. His comments on body types and gender roles, they lit up the internet. But even scandal couldn't stop the machine. Lululemon kept growing into global stores, international markets, and digital fitness technology. The Wilsons diversified fast. They now control millions in tech stocks, private investments, and one of the largest private art collections in Canada. Their net worth? Over $6 billion. But again, the real power isn't the money. It's the culture they created. They mastered how to monetize identity, to wrap self-worth in lycra, to sell meditation as status, health as power, movement as wealth. And the world followed. So while other billionaires chased digital disruption, the Wilsons built an empire on feelings. Not code, not cement, but self-belief in a pricey package. Because in today's economy, branding isn't just business. It's a form of modern mind control. And no one proved that better than the family who built a billion-dollar dream one pair of leggings at a time. The art of control, inside the Thompson fortune. If power isn't just what you own but what you control, then the Thompson family may be the most powerful name in Canada. They don't own leggings. They don't build casinos. They own narratives. And they control the way the country thinks. At the top of this empire is David Thompson, the reclusive billionaire who leads the Thomson Reuters dynasty, a global information empire that powers governments, corporations, and headlines. His family's net worth? Over $50 billion. The richest in Canada. But their real asset isn't the money, it's their influence. Thomson Reuters is more than a news outlet. It's a global intelligence machine feeding financial data to Wall Street, news to the public, and insight to the elite. But the Thompsons don't just traffic in facts, they curate them. They decide what makes the front page, who gets the spotlight, and what gets buried. But here's the twist, they do all of it without fame. David Thompson almost never appears in public. He rarely speaks to media, yet his fingerprints are everywhere. He owns the Globe and Mail, Canada's most influential newspaper. His family has invested millions into art galleries, educational boards, and cultural policy groups. They don't shape the future by force, they whisper it into existence. Art is another weapon in their arsenal. The Thompson collection includes masterpieces by John Constable, among the most valuable private holdings on Earth. But this isn't about aesthetics, it's about legacy, status, and intellectual dominance. The Thompsons understand what few billionaires do: culture outlasts cash. So while the world looks for power in skyscrapers or startup valuations, the Thompsons invest in mind space. And they've proven one unshakable truth: the most powerful family isn't the loudest, it's the one you never question. These billionaire families have mastered the game, build in silence, influence everything. And now you've seen their blueprint. If this video opened your eyes to a side of Canada you've never seen, like, comment, and share. We want to hear which family shocked you the most. Drop it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Billionaire Zone, where we expose hidden empires, untold fortunes, and global influence one video at a time. Because what you don't know is what gives them power.